Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Episode 1. Bang bang bang, the sound of a hammer striking resounded clearly. Natasha really liked this noise. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she almost loved it. Considering Count Velicida's habitual neglect of the family, the burden of work carried out by the Countess alone, and that the cost of maintaining the dignity assigned to the Countess is ridiculously low, we believe that the cause of this family breakdown is in Count Velicida. The judge recites the verdict in an unshakable voice that I could see the face of Velicida's attorney standing on the other side hardening. Natasha smiled slightly. An alimony of 200,000 gold should be given to Countess Velicida. As soon as those words were finished, Count Velicida jumped out of his seat. It's too much, Judge. He screamed without fear. Neglecting my family. Those sad words. In the last month, how many days did you have dinner with your wife? That. We just couldn't eat together. Answer. About 3 times. The judge shook his head as if there was nothing else to hear, not looking like he was willing to give up. This time Count Velicida changed the target. Mary. Are you really going to end up like this? A look of despair appeared on his face. Natasha turned her head, afraid that her lover's whispers would shake her, but the woman's face had a cold look. I admit I lacked expression. But I still love you, Plilip. Mary's voice was very cold. You think I don't know you? The sharp thorns gleamed indescribably. You're doing this for the 200,000 gold coins. Peak. The sound of laughter scratched his sore spot, and his face turned red. Then, he directs his arrows of anger at her. How could you say that? I think the trial is over. Can I leave? Instead, Natasha answered her question. After a month of deliberations, the divorce will be completed. I wish time would pass quickly. Maria stood up, still not showing a smile. Natasha greeted the judge with a painted smile, while Count Velicida tried to follow Mary and was stopped by his lawyer. You must be patient. How can I forget that woman who insults me? If you don't have patience now. The lawyer tried to endure the whispers. That vicious woman will do anything to gnaw on the count. Defamation, property damage, insult, intimidation, and all of those charges will be brought against you once. If that happens, there will be another emergency for Count Velicida, and only the defense attorney will die. Your opponent is Natasha. In the end, the lawyer said the name, Natasha, the best divorce lawyer in the empire. As long as the opponent brought her, the trial was already decided. The lawyer grabbed Count Velicida, who was running rampant down the road, by the waist as he struggled to keep his promise not to charge an additional fee. As soon as the trial ended, Mary seemed more relieved. This long and muddy fight is finally over. Thanks, Natasha. It's my job. Natasha tilted her back with an exaggerated gesture. If you want to work a little more in the division of the property, do not hesitate to contact me. It will be announced soon, but Count Velicida is one of the potential ports for development. The land prices will rise significantly in the coming months, right? Natasha added. Then we can get more money if we divide the property. Then when one of her eyes narrowed, Maria laughed. This is enough. 200,000 gold was an amount commoners couldn't even dream of. I think I did very well in finding Natasha. I hear that often. Natasha accepted the compliment without trembling. There was not a single hesitation. Because everything is true. Actually, when I went to my family's lawyer, they recommended a divorce by agreement. Why do you need to announce such an annoying divorce? People who do not trust their abilities say that. Also, there is a written contract before we get married, to be kicked out without any movement. Some families still considered divorce to be shameful and even ruled them out. Sadly, Mary's family had that kind of environment, so they had to put up with it until now. 200,000 gold is the right amount to start a new life. Natasha narrowed her other eye this time. I thought there was nothing I could do about it because it was a notarized contract. I don't know if you are going to a divorce by agreement, but if you are going to a court battle, the content of what we discussed before becomes a blank slate. This is the basic qualification of an lawyer. Furthermore, since the right to divide property after a divorce occurs after the divorce, there were many cases where the issues discussed before the divorce were not accepted. of course, the general public did not know so you need people like me. Natasha laughed happily, as the sun shone through the window. Ivan's dark red hair shined as if to serve tea, the stacked lashes on top of his gray eyes moved delicately. As Natasha looked at him with a smile, Ivan asked trembling. Why do you look so happy? A trial ended today. I know, that's not the reason why you feel good. Ivan narrowed his eyes. He knew Natasha very well, she was not the type of person who was so excited for a single victory. Why? You ask. Are you curious? Oh, what's wrong with you? When Natasha smiled cheerfully, Ivan freaked out and took a step back. I didn't think Ivan would be curious about me. If you don't want to say it, don't say it. Drink the tea. A cup of thick tea was placed against her. Natasha's expression hardened inadvertently. My bullying skills have improved, do not talk nonsense. Well, whatever you say. Natasha recounted at length what happened in court today. It was a very fantastically told story that ruined another nobleman. In the process, she even rescued a lost soul. Let's put aside the fact that Mary is also noble for a moment. She was far from the typical nobility that Natasha disliked. It's nothing different than usual. No. That's where the most important part comes from, Natasha added with a soft smile. Count Velocita was on that list too. Immediately, Ivan's expression hardened. In other words, we were also getting revenge. Well, it's a bit naive. Natasha's mood improved when she remembered Count Velocita's expression. As a result, she even made the mistake of taking a sip of the tea in front of Ivan without realizing it. The aroma of the tea crossed the tip of her nose and the bitter taste drifted down her throat. She drank gracefully, but the taste was terrible. How is it? Natasha smiled at Ivan's question. I want to throw up. Oh, your skills aren't improving. Still, Natasha drank one more cup of tea. Ivan's skill in making the tea was enough to stick her tongue out of disgust. No, is this too bittersweet to open your mouth? Natasha thought for a moment and then shook her head. It wasn't that important. Actually, I wanted to introduce the lover, but Mary didn't like it. I suppose she didn't like the idea of meeting the mistress. If I had found out, the alimony would have been higher. Natasha paused for a moment. Make sure you check this out first. Ivan showed Natasha the newspaper in his hand. Why? Is there something special in the newspaper? This damn weekly is still framing you. Ivan's eyes flashed fiercely. Natasha picked up the newspaper titled Romanov News and read the contents. Let's see. Recently, the divorce rate in the Illiad Empire has increased by more than 30% compared to 5 years ago, so you cannot avoid holding a specialized divorce attorney liable. Thanks to this, the promise of the soul that swears for life before God loses its meaning and runs at the height of its lightness. That's what I always say, It's something you've always said, so it's annoying. Ivan nodded. Why is it your fault that the divorce rate is so high? That is because there are many nobles who are not faithful to their spouses. Oh, so that's why Ivan is so worried about his sister. It's amazing. Who said sister? Ivan screamed. But when Natasha extended her hand, he hesitated and put his head on her hand. Well, yuck. He bites his lip out of annoyance, but does not reject it. Well, you're right, that was the case that Natasha was facing today. It is said that she could not even think about divorce when her husband was leaving and neglecting his family, and before marriage, even signed a contract. If I get divorced, I will leave without a penny of property. Corrupt. Despite being legally ineffective, women from families that were unable to seek proper legal advice were often misled. Even a family with a lawyer was embarrassed to go to trial and procrastinated, and forced a divorce with an agreement. Mary covered her face half with a fan throughout the consultation, but she could not hide her fingertips, trembling with fear. Anyway, I can't even do this. Natasha pulled out a pipe with her deft hands. The smoke rose thickly. I told you to quit. Ivan yelled and opened the window. Hey, Ivan, when did you grow up and start caring about your sister? Stop joking with me. And it's not a tobacco leaf, it's an herb, so that's okay. Even herbs are poisonous if taken in excess. Pretending not having heard anything, Natasha took another puff on the pipe, looking at the other items. It was a show of how the world was going. Let's see. The price of tobacco has gone up again. In a day or two. Madame Yelena is once again leading the trend with a new dress. Ivan took 2 sips of tea and removed the untouched tea before throwing it away. She tasted it once, just in case, but the bitter taste was so strong that it gave her goosebumps. Not much left. Stop looking and prepare for the trial. We have another trial later in the afternoon. Don't worry. I have prepared everything. Natasha is an experienced divorce attorney. And this empire was flooded with couples trying to get divorced for various reasons. For example, a husband who suddenly becomes obsessed for a wife who suddenly wants to divorce and quit. Thanks to this, Natasha was making huge profits by helping those people. In particular, when alimony or part of the divided property was charged as a fee, it was almost like a cushion of money. What lawyer would reject this? Natasha hummed to herself. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.